fancy intro music. Yeah! Woo!
All right, Star Trek aficionados, here's a question for you. What's stronger, this ship right here, the Rotaran, or this one with the hijacked D7 skin applied? Well, the answer is both. They're the exact same. In fact, today's video is actually going to answer a question that I get asked all the time. And I'm not exaggerating, not fluffing it up for a video. Almost every live stream, I get asked stuff like this. Refits, projectiles, etc. How do they work? And when do they work? I want to explain that today. Now, the simplest way to explain it is as soon as you unlock it, so let's just say that you had gone after it, it's saying, hey, we've got 75 out of 75, but you've not actually unlocked it yet, has yet to apply. As soon as you hit the redeem, you now get the bonus. So think of it like a research in STFC. Now let me show you an example of how that works with the skin I just showed you. And the reason I chose that one is because of how big of a bonus it gives. We're going to talk about bonuses in a second here for skins and ship stuff anyway. But here's our first hit. As you can see, I'm rocking the traditional skin. You'll notice that I end the battle with 3.43 billion whole health remaining and 1.92 billion shield health. We pop into the log, you see it does go 3 rounds. Hostiles always attack first, so I am getting hit and we're putting out damage. My critical hits, you're seeing 600 million here. You're seeing non-criticals at 190, 197. Come on down, you'll see some of that change where it goes 772 critical, 700 critical, etc. Again, not running like ultimate crews and perfect FT, CT loadouts or anything like that. Just want to show you this is the static test, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to hop out and we apply the skin to the Rotaran. So now it has that hijacked D7 skin that many of you have come to love and many are asking about. And the overlords who are out there who do happen to watch, real quick, overlords, while you're here, go ahead and go against your boss's recommendations and like this video. It helps out the channel. Yeah, it does. But also, hear this. People really like just collecting these skins and stuff, making them more rarely available will be a great idea. So here we have the skin. Let's hop into the log. Well, you saw what the results were, but 700, 180, 180. Scroll on down to the next round. Again, similar numbers. If anything, this round of RNG a little bit lower. There's a big critical that popped off. Now that will depend on the weapon, of course, but generally speaking, you're seeing the same amount of damage, both isolytic and etc. applied. And look what our numbers end up being. 3.43, 1.92. So identical runs. This was against a a cons champion hostile. So, it wasn't even, really loaded out crew-wise for that because that's a gold hostile boss. So what are we seeing when we look at that? And I chose that as an example, by the way, because it's one of the few refits that has really big numbers to show you it doesn't matter whether you have, as long as you've unlocked it, all you gotta do is apply it. So this one, we're gonna actually jump into the skins menu and accidentally hit buttons too much. So we come down to the ones that we've unlocked and you're gonna see it right here. What does that hijacked D7 give you? Well, it increases the base weapons damage by 1,500%. And base cost efficiency of the parts and materials by 250. Now, I've said this before when these do come up in the store, but I would say the 250% efficiency is more important than the 1,500%, which many of you might go, Rev, how can you say that 1,500% is so much? Well, let me give you examples. This is us getting into the more details of how this works. 1,500% is about twice as much as I would naturally get here in my attack bonus from officers. But let's even ignore that. Let's go into even easier to source items because that skin was a pay only item. Let's jump into our artifact gallery. Scroll on down to some of these new artifacts that have come out. Hit our little I button and you'll see we have ISO boosting, things like that, but increases base kinetic damage. That's an old one. Well, that's at 350 right now. What about if we increase our whole health by 200%? I'm sorry, 2,000%. What about this? Increased base damage versus hostiles with the Bora Time Crystal, 1,600%. The point is there are a lot of these large numbers already existing in the game. That's the point I'm trying to make is when you look at even like Pike Sextant over here, increases base weapons damage by 2,000. That's literally more than what this thing is giving me, this skin. So the second part of this is no, you do not have to have them attached to get the effect, but also secondarily, they're basically just cosmetics. They're really pretty cosmetics. They're nice cosmetics. I like cosmetics, but let's talk about the projectiles. You're gonna go, Rev, surely some of these things actually do something. Well, let's click on some of those, including some of these semi-newer ones, like the Apex Pulse. Increases Apex barrier against PvP targets by 500. Might sound like a lot. It's basically saying you're getting a 5% reduction in the damage that you take. However, that doesn't account for the fact that Apex Shred is everywhere now, and two, you get Apex Barrier from a lot of places, including free-to-play places. In fact, if you jump out of the Apex Pulse and you go over to the Fleet Commander window, you're going to see Fleet Commander Con, which anybody G4 and above can free-to-play. Well, inside Fleet Commander Con, you're going to find all kinds of things, like, for example, Apex Barrier increased in PvP. That maxes out at 500. Right? That's just one, because there are several examples of that. But then you get down to here, this gives you Apex Shred up to 100%, right? So there are a lot of ways to obtain these items. And the big key is remembering that when it comes to things like projectiles, whether you get them from the Amalgam Refinery, because there are multiple places to get these now. So you have the traditional skins in the Amalgam Refinery, the Refractive Beam, the Positron, Plasma. You also have Amalgam Cloaking that's in here. You have the Augur, D4, and Enterprise refits. End of the day, they're mostly just cosmetics, right? Even if you go to the newer ones, so head over to your Augment faction store, you'll find more of these free to play. And you'll scroll in here, you'll see the Tantalus Fill, which is a FT, but you'll also remember that there are 3 different projectile skins that you can unlock free to play via the Augment faction. But again, these are basically just cosmetics. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because I do talk all the time that more is more. And when you start looking at what these all provide, especially when you start talking projectiles, just go down the list. I mean, the uncommons have no real value, and these are the original ones. So again, no real value, but Cryonic Blast, well, that's another 20% damage. 20%. After we just talked about a ship skin giving 1500, well, add them together, 15, 20, right? So not a lot, but it looks really neat. I actually really like that one. The Countdown Cannon, increasing your base mitigation stats by 20%. Yeah, that's not very good. I don't think I need to even give you an example of that, because y'all are familiar with mitigation of Sleigh Bells. Increases ISO defense by 5%. Now again, I like this because more is more. That's more ISO defense for us, and I do like more ISO defense, but it's 5% where you have ships now in G5, G6 that have 1,000% or more, thanks to things like Wrath of Khan Joaquin. Moving down to the Veron T Disruptor. That gives you an ISO damage boost of 10%, and I strongly recommend people get that. Why? Because more ISO is more better. I'm constantly talking about the power of ISO and ISO defense in this game, but my point is these numbers are really low. The Echo Beam adding to the Veron T Disruptor that we just talked about. But they're most part great for collecting. Getting them all is absolutely going to help you long term like that. There is value in obtaining them, but I wanted to answer one of 2 main questions. Number 1, do they work or do you have to apply them? They are like researches, meaning as soon as you unlock them, they apply everywhere, as you saw in my battle log with the Rotaran. The second point of that is they are mostly cosmetics. Almost none of them provide a bonus that is tangible, and you can actually math it out and provide a real bonus. And I say that with having one of the 1500% skins. Now, I'm not saying they're bad. That's not my argument. My argument is simply know what you're getting is maybe not as valuable as artifacts, but if you want to get some really cool things that let you customize your ships and let it have a nice effect that normally it wouldn't have, well, ship skins and ship weapons are one of those things. And I tend to do that on all my ships. I'm really big into immersion. So with here, I'm launching what has no actual bonus to that one. It's one of the old school ones, but it reminds me of, a disruptor. Probably a little bit more of a Romulan disruptor, but still, that I'm using it for pure cosmetic reasons. If nothing else, think of all this stuff we discussed today, like hailing frequencies, except they do have a bonus. So hailing frequencies are literally just for annoying your folks, and I like using the Odo in a bucket. Anyway, I hope this answered a question that I get asked a lot, and if it did, like the video, live long and plunder, stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. I'm going to catch you on the next Star Trek Flick video. If you question my math, if you're not sure, feel free, message me, and we'll talk about it. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next Star Trek Fleekman video. Go out there, be great.
I would like to request to Scopely to add more Klingons to the game. That is what I was told to do, and so I am doing it. Which, you know, is not maybe the best thing as a leader to just do what you're told, but it seems like a good request to make to add more Klingons. Everything is better with Klingons, am I right? I am right, because I'm a Klingon. Klingon mach tach judge! We are Klingons, let it remain. All right, Rel's on a roll today. She's very excited.